The Stop Online Piracy Act was introduced by U.S. Representative Lamar S. Smith in October of 2011. This is the sister bill to the Preventing Real Online Threats of Intellectual Property Act of 2011. SOPA expands the U.S. law enforcement's ability to fight online trafficking and copyrighted property and goods. The bill also expands criminal laws for unauthorized copywriting, allowing longer sentences for crimes committed against this act. The content of the bill allows the U.S. Department of Justice the right to uphold court orders against any websites, domestic and foreign, whose main determination is to infringe copyright holders' goods or services. This bill, walking hand in hand with PIPA, would increase sentencing, consequences, and penalties to the offender. Criminalization and a sentence of at least 5 years in prison are possible for such a crime. Most opposed to the bill, stating that the First Amendment is being broken along with free speech. They claim the Internet should not be governed, but rather regulated and watched. The Combating Online Infringement and Counterfeits Act was a bill introduced on September 20, 2010, but failed to pass. This bill was rewritten as Protect IP Act on May 12, 2011. It is a proposed law with the main goal of empowering the government and copyright holders more tools to avoid rogue websites prepared to infringe or counterfeit goods from the holder, even internationally based websites. The content of the bill defines infringement as distribution of illegal copies, goods, or anti-digital rights management technology. PIPA says that information location tools should take significant feasibility and reasonable measures to remove or disable access to the Internet site associated with a specific domain. In addition, it must delete all hyperlinks to the offending site. The bill was also made to help prevent companies such as PayPal and MasterCard from transmitting payments for such counterfeit items. CAN-SPAM Act, or Controlling the Assault of Non-Solicited Pornography and Market Act, was introduced on April 10, 2003, and was passed by President George W. Bush on December 6, 2003. The law, commonly referred to as the You Can Spam Act, legitimizes email spam. It dominates pre-existing laws that allow for easy prosecution and private action. It doesn't require emailers to ask permission to email marketable content, allowing for easier spamming. All in all, it protects the spammer rather than the one being spammed. Hypothetically, if you are being spammed in an email, you cannot sue the spammer or the domain from which the message came from. The bill allows marketers to send unsolicited emails as long as they comply with the 3 basic types of compliance defined in the Act. Unsubscribed compliance calls for visible unsubscribed mechanism is present in all emails. Content compliance subscribes relevant subject lines, legitimate address of the publisher or advertiser, and a label needs to be present if the content is rated R or higher. Content is exempt from compliance if it contains religious, political, or national security messages. John Davison J. Rockefeller IV is responsible for introducing the Cybersecurity Enhancement Act on April 1, 2009. He emphasized how vulnerable and unprotected the Internet actually is to cyber attacks. The Cybersecurity Enhancement Act creates requirements to transform into a public-private clearinghouse. Their primary purpose would be to share potential threat information with the owners of large private networks. The Secretary of Commerce has the responsibility to seize any information he deems necessary without regard to any law. The President of the United States is allowed to declare a cyber emergency. This means he has the power to shut down any or all traffic to any server he feels is compromised. Outlined in this Act are 3 requirements. First, the Cybersecurity Enhancement Act calls for a cybersecurity strategic research and development plan. This means a research team will be implemented to research all the different types of cyber attacks. Next, the Act directs the National Science Foundation to create fellowships and give grants for cyber-related research. Thirdly, the Act requires the National Institute of Standards to develop checklists and technical standards for cybersecurity issues. Americans are concerned with their citizens' fundamental privacy and civil liberties won't be protected. Introduced on November 30, 2011 was the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act by U.S. Representative Michael Rogers. He brought the bill to attention with hopes of giving private companies new ways to share information about cyber threats with the government. This bill causes much controversy because it is another empowering tool, but it has the backing of countless major companies such as AT&T, Facebook, Microsoft, and Verizon. The overall objective is to protect companies from foreign hackers, spammers, and attacks infringing the company. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act isn't the most important act that was ever created to try and secure the Internet. This act was made to try and control piracy, and of course the entertainment industry supported this act 100%. This act made it a copyright violation to circumvent a technology control that a firm attached to its software. Digital music and DVDs was the target, but innovations in peer-to-peer computing and open-source decryption software has made it difficult for entertainment copyright holders to enforce their rights under this act.